Ready, Ms. Paul. I think I'm going to sign, kick it. All right, I'd like to call the meeting for Tuesday, June 3rd, the Pocahontas County Board of Education to order. All members are present. Open with pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to
Saints, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. First item on the agenda. Approval of the minutes from the Board of Education meeting held on May the 20th, 2025. Do we have any questions or a motion? I need a motion. Mr. Collins made the motion. Do I have a second? This is Collinsworth seconded. Any questions or additions to the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Motion carries. Item number 2 is the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion? So moved. Mr. Collins made a motion. Have a second? Mrs. Collinsworth seconded. Any additions or corrections to the agenda?
yes. Before that, Allison Stafford, we're gonna put a little, that's, I was just like some paperwork they did not make it. For us to ask for approval tonight.
Well, who is it?
Allison Stafford, teacher part of Pocahontas County High School, so you'll see her currently. For the last,
She heard me.
yeah, she used to. So we're excited.
Is that Allison Fleck?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. We all know. Okay. Any others?
That's it.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Delegations. Superintendent's report and spatial recognition.
Short tonight, we had 76 graduates at Pocahontas County High School on Sunday. Wonderful graduation. I know all of you were there. Most of you were there. And also we gave out 138 Standard of Excellence Awards and our school-based achievement days celebrations. They were, it's very, very nice. Green Bay had a breakfast, their achievement breakfast. Of course, the high school had an evening awards. They did the Standard of Excellence prior to their senior awards. Hillsborough had theirs yesterday with their fifth grade graduation, as well as Martin Elementary had theirs today with awards and fifth grade graduation. And Nebraska at Martin Middle this morning, it's outside. So appreciate everybody for their hard work and organizing this.
Thank you. Information reports and academic updates. Christy Hammonds. Stakeholder survey results. I have been told that nothing can go over 5 minutes.
Well, I phoned Stephanie in to help me, so we go over at Stephanie's fault. I talk fast. No, well, while this is loading up, I want to take a minute. This is my last meeting before Mrs. Bostic retires. And so I just want to thank her for her service to the county. She was instrumental in bringing a lot of programs here that are amazing programs. Nature's Mountain Playground, Grow Your Own Partnerships, which brings our kids back to this county to teach. Communities and schools, we all know how amazing that is. That was Lynn's baby. We brought that in. And she has the hardest job in the county. I would not want her job. So she's left it all on the table for us, and I really appreciate that. Personally, for me, Mrs. Bostic has been very encouraging of my professional growth. And she taught me how to use the website. So she was the first to sort of dig in there and learn that system, and she taught me how to use that. I really appreciate that. She's always willing to share her wisdom. And most of all, when you can be anything in the world, Linda's kind, and I appreciate that about you. So I salute you as you set off on the adventures, and thank you for your service. You'll be that woman on the wall. We appreciate it.
Chrissy, she's like, it's about time we put a woman on the wall, and I said, Chrissy, we have one.
Yes, I had to look way back there, but I saw.
But when this.
Susan Hollingsworth probably knew her.
I didn't live here then.
Definitely.
Add that you're one of the biggest accomplishments of mine. We're so connected now because she taught us
I
that.
appreciate
And you
that.
did.
Yes, Lynn has really supported my professional growth, and I really appreciate that. All right, Stephanie and I are here to talk to you about the stakeholder survey that we put out in April. We talked to you guys a little bit about that before, but now we want to bring the results back to you guys. So you see what our stakeholders had to say. You should have a copy of that in front of you. Feel free to take it home and peruse it. We're going to try and hit the highlights and kind of give you a background of why we did this and how we got to put out there.
While keeping it under 5 minutes.
Yes. So Stephanie can speak to this as federal programs, but they require us to have some sort of a stakeholder survey for funding.
And we were talking about how, example, Title I, part of the federal programs, was asking us that we had to have surveys, and what survey information we were receiving through the state was not very beneficial for us to move our programs. So we started this conversation, Lynn, Christy Tritipo, Christy Hammonds, and myself, and she took off with it.
So especially in light of the special circumstance review, we wanted to confirm the temperature on what our stakeholders were feeling and what they wanted from us, what they want from you, how they see our school system. So this is going to give us a really good picture of that. And for communication purposes, which is a big role that I've taken on, it's important to get feedback from your stakeholders frequently. Get that temperature, know what they're thinking. And actually, I wanted to tell you guys that since we have designed this survey and implemented it, we've actually had another school system reach out to us that was looking at our website, pop up and look through the survey to ask us to be able to use this survey. So we think it's a very valuable survey. We think it's a very good format. So survey creation. We found this format as we were doing research. It's something that is used by an Arkansas school system. We just stumbled upon it. But what we really liked about the format was it asked the participants to select actionable concerns from a pre-populated list. So you're not like putting it on a Likert scale. You're not putting in like a bunch of random other answers that we can't focus on. It really let us focus in on things that we can fix that are really actionable. We only put things on there that we felt like we had control over.
Yeah, this survey we looked at numerous times, and we would go back to say, is this something we can actually do something with? And that helped us weed out unnecessary choices.
So again, Stephanie mentioned that the four of us sat down and we adapted it for our needs. And then we found a product that actually PMH was using that we reached out to them to get feedback on. It's called Survey Planet. I don't know, Frosty, you've asked before about like a survey product that maybe we can use in the future that people can't take twice. And this has some features in the background that helps prevent that. I'm not saying in no world can you take this twice, but you really have to work to do it. So we feel really good about clean survey results here. It was free for us to use. And what we did was we distributed it through all of our media outlets. We sent it Facebook, we sent text messages, we sent a call home, we sent it via email. Any way we could reach those parents, we said, please take this survey. And so in April, we sent all of that out. And actually, when we get results back, we've shared those with our administrator and we've shared those with the community. Anything you have to add? So survey results, what did we hear back? We had 210 responses, which is really good for us for a survey. The survey was open to parents, staff, alumni, community members, and students. Parents accounted for the largest portion. They got 48% came from our parents. And PCHS actually had the highest percent of affiliated responses at 26%. If you look at that, it really just sort of runs the spectrum. It was a very even number of responses, but PCHS had the most. All right. So this is the meat of the questions. So the first thing that we asked our stakeholders is, what are the greatest challenges or issues our school system will face over the next 5 years in order to provide a quality education for all students? And then we asked them, we gave them a bunch of options to pick from, and we said, pick 5. So when this comes back to us, we're looking at what are our top 5 issues. We're narrowing down. We're not trying to put many irons and many fires that we are never going to get fixed. We want to focus on this year. Then maybe next year, these are going to drop down and we're going to get new things. That's how it works. But we're getting 5 actionable things that we can focus on. And I'll let Stephanie kind of talk about the questions and the data there.
Well, the 5 top choices were the top percentage: recruiting and retaining high quality teachers and administrators, addressing the social, emotional, and mental health needs of all students, preparing students for workforce expectations, addressing a decline in student enrollment and associated staffing cuts, which tied in 5th place with address academic gaps in student achievement.
So we are doing lots of things with this data.
Yes.
We already took some of this data. I was telling Stephanie, I was sort of surprised to see that people thought our number one thing we needed to focus on was retaining and recruiting high quality teachers. I didn't see that coming personally. So when I saw that, my first thought was recognition, retention, things that we can do to hold on to our staff. And we started immediately working on those sorts of things. We're working on a new staff program so that we're giving them more information, more orientation, more established connection to our buildings. That toy soy package that you guys saw, those teacher of the year and service personnel of the year, that came from this. That came from us thinking, we gotta beef it up. These are our high quality teachers, our teachers of the year. These are our high quality service personnel. How do we beef it up? How do we recognize them and hold on to them?
But you all did an amazing job this year.
Thank you. Stephanie, did you have anything else to add to this?
We also are looking at the data too, to help us focus and plan for the future. So when I look at this information, for example, addressing the social, emotional, and mental health needs of our students, that tells me as a school employee, whatever we need to do, we need to continue to support our mental health needs, keep youth health in our school system, make sure we keep our counselors. So as whether you're an administrator or educator, to me, that, for example, is telling us that this should be a focus of ours in the future. So when we're looking at each of these, we're like, okay, how can we ensure that this is going to improve or we continue to support it?
So the next thing we ask is, what are the most important skills and abilities students need to know to be able to be prepared for a successful future? This is helpful information that we'll share with our teachers, and it sort of, it captures a community insight into what they want to see from our graduates. What do they want to see from our students out in the community? So I'll let Stephanie talk about the data there.
They want to see our students demonstrate good character that is respectful, responsible, and humble. Able to communicate, writing, and speaking effectively in various situations. Successful in foundational skills, reading, writing, and math. Able to problem solve. And tied again for 5th place, ability to personally take care of own finances. And able to manage time, set goals, and work as part of a team.
So you can see over here with this donut, I mean, we got a big variety of responses, and that's sort of like when you're sitting down to focus on things, that's sort of what's going through everybody's head is this huge donut, right? It's like, God, we need to do this and this and this. But what we're doing is we're focusing on these top 5 here.
And I just realized there's a 3rd one that tied 5th place. Demonstrate a knowledge of proper business practices such as interviewing properly, which they worked on this year at the high school, dressing appropriately, writing correctly, and adjusting to the use of appropriate workplace language.
And actually that 8th grade luncheon this year, those kids wrote resumes and they went through job interviews there. So we're making good progress with that. Yeah. This is one of my favorite questions, and actually, this is a Stephanie Burns question. This was created by her, and the responses she really worked hard on. This is, how can our school system support you? So this was a question only for parents, and parents told us what they needed in this question. So Stephanie, your top 5.
All right, answer this. Let me just say that when Christy says we, a lot of times it's she, okay? She is very humble. So when she points out that this was mine, no. So how we can support our administrators, our students, our community, we need stronger communication from school to parents, support checking students' grades in WEVA's parent portal, better access to after-school programs, after-school tutoring for students, training on how to support my student in math, and also tied assistance interpreting grade level standards and expectations.
So just a few things from this slide that we are already working on is we use this data to submit for a 21st Century Learning Grant for after-school programming. We asked for a lot of money. We hope that we get some money. We have a plan to scale down. We'll take what we get. If we get a day a week of tutoring, that's a big difference. So that's the first use that we've had that form. We were able to submit it as actionable data for them. We had hands-on data for that, so that was great. And actually, I just talked to Joanna Burke-Kinderman yesterday about some ideas she might have for training students for math support. And she had some really great ideas that she tossed out there, so we'll work on implementing those. Next is, what evidence do you use to evaluate the quality of education in our school system? So I always wonder, like, how are parents judging us? Like, what do they want to see? What makes them think, okay, my kids are doing well? And so they told us how they're judging us.
Through positive relationships or connections between staff and students. And I already saw on social media where parents were posting how happy they were with the results of their student this year, even on social media. That reminds me of that first one. My child wants to go to school. School to home communication. Percentage of students meeting the college and career readiness standards. Progress reports and grades, which was surprising as a teacher. That wasn't number one. What they value and how they evaluate our school systems, the highest percentage is positive relationships or connections between staff and students. I just think about
some of that next through training, of, how building that relationship first before the student can learn. So making them feel comfortable that the needs are met.
Absolutely. And like I said, this data goes to the school principals. We're going to talk more about this, but we've already talked some about this in principals meetings. So this is a good opportunity. We'll bring up things like that. Let's start up here with Maslow. How we just need basic needs.
That's something, help comment right there. Years ago, I heard, if you don't have their heart, don't mess with her head.
Oh, there you go.
That's something real quick.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Absolutely. The next one was, what evidence do you use to evaluate the quality of education in our school system? So this is great data for you guys. How are people evaluating what we're doing here, the quality of it?
And this will help us, it's helpful feedback for what direction funding is going to go. First, provide for maintenance and improvements to existing facilities, keep employee salaries competitive with area salaries, provide improvements to campus safety and security, additional funding for instructional resources that support classroom instruction, and last, the top 5, ensuring resources are provided to meet the mental health needs of students.
And actually, I think that question should have been, I got it wrong at the top there, Stephanie. That actually should have been, what should be our financial priorities? Because as I read that,
It's all with funding.
yeah, so your top funding priority here is they want to provide maintenance and improvements for our facility, keep our salaries competitive. So those are your top 5 for that. And like I said, you guys have this data in front of you. We just want to hit the highlights.
I'd like to mention that Mr. Gibson, you may be another one of Mrs. Boston's greatest achievements. Putting you in that job you have now has really been beneficial to our buildings.
that was actually just for me.
I mean, well, I'll tell you, you've really come a long way. That helped us a lot.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
The last one, this was Christie's idea. What could the school system do that would delight you? And we wanted to keep it positive. What information could they share with us? So she has summarized the highlights
So
from all the comments.
we left this as just an essay question. It was your chance to say what you're feeling, what's in your heart, what you think that we can do. And we gave you guys those comments. You have all of those. It's a book there and you can sort of look through it. But what I did was I fed this, I honestly used AI for this. I fed all of those comments into AI and I said, bunch them up and tell me the highlights. So top, we got communication. You guys know that we've worked hard on that this year. There's always work to do with communication, we'll work even harder next year. But that's top, parents want to know what's going on with their students and we get that. We saw a lot of issues with online grade access this year that we're in basically a pilot for that program. Hopefully that will get better. They did a lot of work at the end of the year. But that's something we definitely got to work on next year. Staffing and support, again, they want to make sure we keep those highly qualified teachers. What can we do to keep the best staff in the state with us? They want to see us do better training for our special needs staff, and they want us to improve our substitutes. Again, that's part of what we're doing with our new employee program, is we're getting them a better, more solid foundation in that orientation. And you guys have seen our substitute campaigns. We're putting them out there. We're saying we need substitutes. We need them in the building. We've had some success. So next year we're going to do a new fresh face campaign. It'll be fresh in people's minds. Hopefully we'll get more good subs. Bullying is a problem that has been mentioned in there. That's something we can always look at, making it better. We tried some different programs. That's always something that we need to look at. Requests for consistent discipline. do you think we have a rubric that we're working on for the county?
Right, we actually started that a couple of years ago, and we tweak it every year, it's based on state policy 73, and so the school, so it's consistent around schools, like this one, occurs, this is what we're gonna do. And we did put the caveat in for this year, elementary school, it might look a little different, like, so we know our students, the levels.
Academics and future readiness. They want to make sure that we're getting those kids not just ready for college, but for careers when they come out of school, make sure they have foundational skills. Scheduling and attendance. We had actually several folks put in there, and I'm going to guess those were probably teachers, that they want a 4-day work week. Other counties are trying it out. Other counties are modifying their schedules. I certainly see where they would ask for that. It could be successful in other counties, but that's something that was asked for. Consistency and fairness, facilities and technology. We all know how hard Dwayne and Mrs. Bostic have worked this year on trying to get those SBA grants, trying to get as many upgrades as we can as possible. Technology, we've told you guys we're applying for a grant for better computers, but technology is just like when you do the laundry. As soon as that laundry's done, there's more to do.
Yeah.
Technology is the same way. As soon as you get that all set up and beautiful, when you turn around, there's new technology. So that's always going to be a battle for us. Administration and leadership, calls for more visibility, central office, school administration, schools consolidation. That was actually mentioned several times in your comments. Again, that's something that we all know. It's always been kicked around. That will always be kicked around. But it was specifically mentioned several times. They're looking for better engagement. They want opportunities to apply, to volunteer to get into our schools. So maybe that's something that we better put out there, to get more people in the schools so people know how they can volunteer, what the opportunities are. And then extracurriculars, requests for more diverse extracurricular activities, arts, clubs, recognition beyond sport. Again, if we get what we asked for this 21st century grant, we're going to have some really good opportunities there. And I certainly hope that we do get that grant. Any comments about that? No. So data in action, again, we're already using this. We've used it in our strategic planning, grant applications, looking at that discipline rubric, employee recognition, and then we have some future uses that we can use it for.
This probably needs to be side by side with our county strategic plan because it will help us focus on our future plan, future programs, our future staffing. And we're going to do some follow-up surveys next year, especially with the feedback that we have here. And hopefully it will influence positively on the course offerings and schedule planning for all schools.
All right, what questions do you guys have about this data?
I don't have any questions about the data itself.
Yeah.
But one thing that surprised me, and it was just one person, said to allow parents to come to school parties for the class, be allowed to go on trips with the kids. That was surprising.
I think they're allowed, I mean, they're not allowed to ride the bus.
Right.
But they're allowed to show up. I have been involved with some trips where parents arrive, so I'm not sure what that person is referring to.
But I will say, Dr. Holmberg, I did see a couple of comments in there asking for more opportunities to volunteer. So like I said, I don't know how well we're communicating that information. Are we saying, are we doing multiple volunteer trainings? Probably not, because that falls in the building administrators act, but could we get people?
Chaperones all the time.
Yeah.
But you might be on something. Maybe we need to offer it more than one time instead of just the beginning of the year. Offer it more throughout the year.
Are the parents allowed to come to parties at Martin Middle or Greenback Elementary Middle?
Usually invite.
They aren't to be, I mean, I don't,
I have witnessed that.
Well, mine was there, that we did.
Yes. I mean, I've seen parents at the school as far as, I couldn't quote the policy to you. I don't believe there's anything prohibiting it. But again, are we communicating that? Because, safe schools, when we talk about that, we do have to think about people in and out of the building. So have we given that impression that, maybe we sort of lock down that building and you're not allowed to come in and out? I don't know. Again, it's something we probably need to better communicate. And this,
Be very careful about it.
yeah, but this data gets us started. This gets us talking.
I would like to see us communicate to people that because there were several comments about consolidating Hillsborough and Marlington, but only one of those comments mentioned that put them together and move them up on the hill. Because you can close Hillsborough down and save enough money to save the world, according to some of them. Yes, they have you don't do that much. But Marlington Elementary has no place to put them.
Right. Yeah.
So what are you gonna consolidate them to?
Yeah. And that's a good point.
Communicate that to
Yeah.
people that's got to be part of the consideration.
Yeah.
We're not planning to consolidate anything. We won't get anything. No.
But
It would
obviously
be-
that needs some.
But it would affect more than just that school. It would affect the elementary, it would affect Martin Middle.
Yeah, it would absolutely be a domino effect.
It would. I don't want to put out here thinking, we're thinking about consolidating schools, but no.
It's not, this discussion that needs to happen today. State legislature, they're closing schools all over the state. No, it's not an outlandish discussion to start having.
Yeah, and parents had that ability to just give us that feedback, it's good or bad, whether we like it or we don't like it. That's what we want, right? Sometimes you gotta take it on the chin, a lot of this was communication. I had to take it on the chin a lot there, but trying, that's all we can do, is we're trying to get better.
You're doing like great, Jeff.
And this data is gonna steer us in the right direction, right? It's gonna get us started where we need to go, so.
and one thing, I just skipped over the comments there, just the 1 year scan, one eye. But a lot of them contradict themselves. One person wants this, and you read 5 comments down, and someone wants exactly the opposite.
That's right.
And that's,
That's why you guys have a hard job and Lynn has a hard
You
job.
can't make everybody.
You can't make everybody happy, but by narrowing down those top 5, we're getting that majority, right? Yeah. So that's what we're trying to do. All right, guys, I really appreciate you. Stephanie is up next.
Yeah.
With Christie's help.
With my help, but Stephanie.
So move on to the next one where it says
Stephanie Burlington, Chrissy Grimpo.
summer program.
Give me just one second.
And was trying to vote on this evening, so.
It's really short and sweet and to the point,
Less than 5 minutes.
What is it, Dave?
less than 5 minutes.
and now,
Daydreams? What's the name of the theme of it?
How much do I like it, son?
Sunbeams and daydreams, I
Yeah.
think.
So,
Spring waves and sun rays.
Right?
I just want to share with you some of the summer opportunities that we have. You can access these options through your Pocahontas County Schools homepage. I have 2 different links here. One is takes you straight to the homepage, if you can go ahead straight to the homepage. And then I'll show you how to get to the summer programs.
Just one second. Gotta switch my share.
And Christy has done an amazing job providing this on our website. That's why I'm saying Christy is here to, it's partly her job too.
Okay. Sure, you guys can see that, right?
All right, okay.
So this is the home page.
That's the home page, and if you see over here, the tabs on your right-hand side, you see summer programming. So you can also access it through here. So click on summer programming. Christy has done an amazing job organizing and laying out all of the resources, not just from the school, but from all of the local entities within our county and outside of our county. So the first section here kind of gives you what's closely related to the school system. Energy Express, offered at Marlington Elementary School. The Pocahontas County Schools summer program, we're going to be offering summer school at Green Bank Elementary for elementary children for half of the day. And then at Marlington Elementary, we're going to continue the summer service for the children who attend Energy Express. If they would like to continue the rest of the day, we're going to provide those services, summer school services, focusing on STEM, literacy, numeracy, movement at Marlington Elementary in the afternoon. Youth health services are going to be providing some individual and group therapy sessions for middle school and high school students located at Marlington Elementary School. Pocahontas County Libraries also have a free summer reading program. You can contact your local library or I think register, yes, on the PocahontasLibrary.org site. And we are going to be providing PCHS credit recovery at the high school. And they're going to be signing up computers to the students where they will take virtual classes wherever it may be in their home or a local library. Excuse me.
I think it's
She
on
knows.
5 minutes.
I asked her at the beginning.
Other programs offered this summer, 4-H camp next week. Pocahontas Opera House, their summer theater program during the week. Parks and Rec have a plethora of activities that they're offering. Pocahontas FRN also has assorted summer activities that they're sponsoring them on Thursdays at 3.
I will say, when you taking a drink, that I had they were just concerned. They were on the Energy Express, and they're like, what do we do? You know, Adam's our cousin's coming. And I said, okay, do you have access to Facebook or the internet? And I led them to our webpage. It's like, wow, it's all right there for you. So
Yeah, this is
nice.
wonderful.
Yes.
As a parent, I would have loved to have had this because I've lost my flyer or, you know,
It's all one place.
it's all one place. Green Bank Observatory, they started their summer programming this past Sunday. Pocahontas Memorial will have a youth fair, a youth health fair, June 27th. And she also listed other activities and opportunities at the bottom of the page.
So we sent one of these flyers home with every single student taken away. So they got it paper. So if grandma doesn't have Facebook or phone or whatever, we're reaching those folks too. But this is our parking spot on.
And here we have our flyer for brain waves and sun rays. That is a flyer that was posted.
That's good.
Yeah. Thank you, Christy. That was posted throughout the school year. And that gives just a brief overview. She also has added a QR code that if you have a smartphone, you can actually go to the application and fill it online. She thinks of everything. Yes, Pocahontas County Opera House Summer Theater Camp. So she has all these flyers uploaded on the state or on our school website. Space Track Coaching for Parents, which has been offered all year, but there's some special activities for the summer. available. Youth football, 4-H camp. Oh, that's a new one. The Friday Fun Summer Series. I did not see that before. That's new. Youth Health Fair, snorkel for the Greenbrier. That's a new one too. She's adding them up here all the time. Basketball training camp. Paint your own planter. Oh. Steam and strings. The Green Bank Observatory pool opens tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Mhm. Allegheny Echoes, that's a new flyer on there. She gave the information. And then also free opportunity to watch movie in the theater in Lewisburg.
We had a meeting with the various agencies.
Yes, we did.
They sit around the table and we talked to them about this.
So they've shared that information with Christy. We had a summer planning meeting where we invited most of these people to please come and share their dates and information, and we will help get it out there. And Christy's done an amazing job. Thank you.
We have great partners. We have, FRN, Parks and Rec, they were really engaged in giving that information to us. And we will add information to this as we get it. So as we see flyers out there, we will put them on here. If there is an ability to sign up for something like Allegheny Echoes, I've set it up to, this is actually a link. If folks click on that, they'll go directly to how I sign up for that. So if you hear folks out there saying, "Oh, these kids are driving me crazy this summer," direct them to our summer program site. We're going to put as much stuff on there as we can. We want to get our kids engaged in as many activities as we can.
We're gonna have to attend at Pioneer Days of Songs.
I did get the application. I was gonna share it with Dr. Williams. When she comes
I
in.
think you should.
Let's see if she's interested.
Yeah, I like to participate.
It was fun.
It's got to look back up.
Just wanted to talk about what we are offering through the school system. And just to reiterate and give you some details, we are offering summer school at 2 different locations for elementary students. And that is at Green Bank Elementary and Merlinton Elementary. Again, we are going at Merlinton Elementary, we're going to piggyback off of Energy Express and offer a program in the afternoon. The program that we're going to be offering is going to be STEAM focused, pulling in that science, probably not as much technology, but also bringing in the arts and the math. There's also books that's going to be a focus, read aloud each day. And during those times, we're going to, if anyone applies for the positions, we have post-support interventionists that could provide small group or individual intervention for children who have not been cut scores on the state levels. We wanted to make sure that they have that extra boost during the summer. So they will just be pulled during that summer time for 20 to 30 minutes, and then they'll join the rest of the group. And again, depending on the child's needs, it might be individual or it might be a small group.
Explain what cut scores again on check.
Cut scores are the scores that have been determined by the state according to which assessment we're using. So the West Virginia General Summative Assessment is a test that all 3rd through 8th grade take. And for 3rd grade students, there is a cut score. If they do not meet that cut score, they're saying, oh, we need to make sure we provide them some intensive intervention, which we have been during the whole school year. But we need to continue that through the summer. And that is through math and through reading. So we have these scores that are state numbers that we follow. We also do iReady benchmark that also provides a cut score. So we look at a couple pieces of data to determine what this child needs. Any questions about that?
I guess this is part of the 3rd grade success act too.
Correct. Correct.
So it's good.
Yes,
It's good. Just-
yes. Any questions? Sorry, wasn't 5 minutes, but.
Close, 4 minutes, 59 seconds.
Stephanie, don't worry, I'm taking your time off Dwayne. Thank you very much. Dwayne? If the maintenance, transportation, and safety updates, you have 3 minutes.
Shoot, I've got a handout, I can just hand it out.
That's gonna be my thing about you. Thank you. And now I'm gonna move on to the top, right? Sure. That's pretty good. You're pretty easy, you know? So, this one.
Okay. All right, so, we'll start off with maintenance. We're covering up some of the maintenance. And I get out of the school as much as I can. Once I get into the office, the phone rings, I usually study. If I go to the school, usually go before I come in. I can attest to it, I'll say, I'll see if I think possible, I'll roll in it, won't make it. So, the more I'm out, the more things I see to need report. Things that need served, just general maintenance. So, principals are going to provide some of the maintenance requests with review and actions funding allows and necessity requires. We got $so many, and you have to spend it wisely. Right now, we have summer vacation going on, Darren's out some, Jamie Walker's out. Rick's going to be here, Lone Ranger off on one, so. We can work through June and then July, August, everybody's back full force again. So we get through things as quick as we can, and I'm curious to see what all comes in. Take care of everything we can throughout the year, for the problem. Look at that. Okay, so transportation, one thing is someone piggyback on what they were talking about, the summer school, we have posted positions for bus drivers. We have one position filled for Green Bank summer school. So far, everybody's applied, unless it's half the days in Arlington summer school. And now, free, so that's pretty much like a real brother. We'll probably get drivers to do that. So anyway, we get somebody to do that. Drivers trying to get the buses tomorrow, bus garage, from summer inspections, just Mason go through those, we do every year. We received one new bus so far from this year's order. It's an international for Cummins diesel engine, bus number 2426. No, you has it right now. Likes it really well. It's a nice bus. And we replaced the oldest bus with the most miles. The next bus we should get probably, hopefully by the end of this month, be ready for next school year. Have a good first football next and bring back here. And it's all handicap accessible bus. So we have one wheelchair accessible bus down in this country. We'll have to bring it back here. Right now, we've got 19 troops on the books for camps and Green Bank Observatory. We do service for them to take the student places. We just got those organized and we'll try to assign those tomorrow. We'll give you a costume, the drivers will be taking research tests, permitting in the buses, paperwork and all that. We'll have a small dinner up there too. Take off from there. We do have a substitute driver class going on right now. We have 6 participants in it. A couple of those are hopefully looking for positions. We got Scott this year. So just interested in something. So as we get this class done, next fall. Still back in the maintenance side, we're still doing, trying to get our custodian positions going in the schools. And Mark Walton, fortunately, at the courthouse, and then I was retired from the hospital, so our student positions need to fill right now. Okay, so moving on to state schools, am I forgetting something yet?
Government and half.
Okay, moving on to state schools, the cost stream we received last year, it's now in process for installation process that's going on. They've already installed cameras at Marlton first, then they did Marlton Elementary School. Hillsborough, Green Bank is in process right now. They'll do the high school here in the summer. Cherry, you mentioned, Glenn and I started grants, Cherry plays a big part in the grants too. Some of the data that she knows and has access to.
Those cameras,
What's that?
those cameras, are they going to the principal's office to view, or are they coming here too, or?
Yeah, I haven't gotten the lighting yet, so I'm sure right now. But sooner or later, I'll have access to it, but
And they will allow access to it.
yeah, no, what access, they'll have issues alerts to work with that, IT management, work with that too, so.
They have access. They're setting up their server part, but they have access.
That's actually very well, I
Are they gonna record, or they're gonna record, keeping recording for so long, then they wipe out, or how's it set up?
That's one big question, of how long the recording lasts. But everything can be recorded, we not play the end and things like around similar of us systems.
It lasts a year.
What's that?
It lasts a year.
Oh, really?
The companies come every year to change out the hard drive. I believe they give those to principals to store, but I couldn't say 100% about that.
You just had them for a week or two, then they arrange
Yeah,
it.
it's a long term, but I couldn't answer for how long.
Okay, that's good.
I learned more right there about that than the news, so. But anyway, like I say, the new camera system, I'll have access to it here too. They said they would just put my name, access, everybody had, yeah. So, that's all the process. Access controls from the same company with staff, several products, ASAP. That'll take place over the summer, and then also the different companies will be doing the keys. So we should have a reset for keys for all of our schools with one type of cylinder, everything gets hard to listen. So if there's anything we taken care of, hopefully we just get a reset and one of the keys, it's like you're in the community right now, from keys on by.
You have one last year.
The intent is to have a county master, and then we'll have building level masters. So making scouts will lead them have county master, maybe really wanted to go anytime. And then for our emergency folks, EMS 911, I should be able to get police officer keys and to be getting reading, yeah. We'll see the access and then keep it time. So that's the way that's supposed to work. We have MIP for Pocahontas County Hospital. I've now been leading for the work, so I'm going to see how well that works out, because I know it can be time consuming. I'm talking to Morgan eventually. I got some questions you need better for. My time was limited, I'll see what I can do. We did receive bids for the electrical replacement all through the last meeting. I think it's the last one. The big group's budget, and the meeting, the architect, that's general contractor with cost efficiency, he did a value engineering approach to it. And trying to reduce their overall amount, and they did look at some changes that should work out and hopefully save us $62,000. So that's, we'll use a different contractor than originally did from Jim, we'll find somebody else, so Cincinnati, it's interested in drilling. And then also some procedures with the breaker box to be remounted, getting rid of stuff that's like 1969, 1970. So anyway,
Quality and everything's just probably working shit, everything will be hard to do.
they should do the same, just putting you guys in this panel. Just put a new panel over here on the other side of the wall. Do over to it. It makes a difference in the cost. Not gonna be doing the whole roads. We're back to maintenance. It's the main draw, still in good shape, or all the whole road, like the wires. Still in good shape, we're worried about falling those out, trying to put new in, underground conduits.
Yeah.
So, better off we things alone. So some of the main breaker boxes, they're down to the junction boxes. They said they had done that in another school system, last pretty much a year ago there. So high point construction, it seems like we need to toss them out, you break that one, before, so it's. Anyway, that's where we're at with that one. We also put in for an MIP for the Martin Middle School roof replacement, and we don't know about that yet. I can't remember what the date the board is supposed to be saving on that one. That's early October. Oh, that's in June. So
The 16th.
okay, so it is coming up pretty soon. So we're going to go about that thing. I had verbally called one of our roofing companies and come to me, so we didn't want to, roof coating by chance yesterday. The guy returned my call. I said, well, didn't mean to call you, but now I'm talking to you, this might be coming down the pipe.
I'm thinking, I went to Lewisburg, the Hillsburg school, roof on it started. Kind of bad. I'm thinking that's where it was. There, yeah, it had to be Hills.
It was for part of that school had a new roof how many years ago? I think it was a win. Sherry, you remember?
It was and it was right, 13 is when we put the cafeteria.
It was done before the cafeteria.
Just done.
Somebody bother to just look at it, cause it looked to me like we were losing.
You're right. Usually, when I was back, when you know you drive it.
You know, if I remember correctly, we looked like a lot of paint was coming off.
And there's things all over.
Oh, yeah.
We got, the new auditorium at the hospital. I'm using the term new loosely. It was built around 2000. It's 25 years old.
Yeah.
You can stand now, look through the gutters, and the gutters are replaced. And that's another fucking call we need to make, try to get it. Put it in the roof. So everywhere you look, there's something that needs to. People will call your attention to it. Sometimes they won't. When you have to, why you turn the blind eye to it, because you see it so often, you can think.
The activity bus, is that on track for the summer and fall?
It should be, yes. Yeah. Charlie Kelly has support that activity bus runs, as he retires, to be doing away with that. I think you want to repost that one. There's some Thursday for activity.
Teams can have flex during the summer, I guess.
Well, actually, I'm watching your old presentation. Sports activities, obviously. So I had somebody ask about that today. I said, oh, it starts August first on Friday.
Usually start August first.
Yeah, August first on Friday, so.
So it's gonna be on that.
Yes, yeah, what you all have in yours is August 4th.
Still planning,
It won't be in our gym.
I will say, they're still planning on tearing the floor out, right?
It'd be football practice, so it wouldn't be in the gym.
Girls are starting to practice, they're starting their summer stuff, Thursday, Friday.
Thursday, I think. I talked to him before, yesterday, I think it was.
I think they're gonna alternate between the middle schools.
Yeah.
You don't do summer for the flex training.
But I don't have for a day to be the gym there out yet.
That'd be too much.
They've already made arrangements.
That's getting the school involved in that flex stuff, because the coaches can do whatever days, any days. They might do 2 days and then not do nothing for 2 weeks.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
All right. So Mr. Grimes, if he's watching my 3 minutes, let's be done.
You got another 30 seconds. Thank you, Dwayne. All right, we appreciate it, buddy. All right. Item number 6 is approval of the following consent financial requirement. And the vendor listing $303,395.76. Payment of local government purchasing part $32,953.48. May 20, 2025 employee payroll $293,612.51. Extra duty pay for the month of May $17,696.25. Grant award and budget adjustments. Do I have a motion? Mr. Collins made the motion. Do I have a second? Mr. Collins will second it. Any questions or anything on the? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Motion carried. Item number 7, approval for the superintendent to post and fill positions prior to board approval effective June 4th, 2025 to October 21st, 2025. I have a motion. Mr. McCombs made the motion. Do I have a second? Collins were seconded. Any discussion?
So that was for the vice principal and the athletic director?
No, it's for anybody.
Certified this completed. And that's why that's your next meeting in October. We have to have those
Okay.
moving, so the people that's hired, we can get them hired and do the next ones. Because if we don't have everybody in place on October 1st, we don't get our funding.
Yes.
The certified people, plus the end school year, getting people in their place.
Absolutely agree. Yeah, absolutely.
I got some questions about that. Now we're changing over superintendents. I know we're changing, okay? The new one's going to be here and not be advised of what's going on. She's going to be learning certain things. We got our principal and athletic director of Pocahontas County High School. We're going to have a meeting 2 weeks from now
I'm with Mr. Grimes. I think new superintendent ought to get informed of this. So,
Yeah, but, you know,
She can find us that out. I mean, right, and it's nothing really, it's top secret. We got the minutes here. She's probably zooming right now, I hope. And, I mean, you know,
how come, my question, where did the October date come? Where is this?
that's when it's gonna be certified, goes into the state.
You have a qualified person by October 21st, you're going to get funding for that.
That's a lot of room from June the 4th to October.
Is the deadline for the certified list.
That's still a lot of room from June.
So, what you have to do for, like, there's a vacancy here, so teacher A takes it, which leaves another vacancy, and then teacher B takes that one, which leaves another, one, and you.
That's why I would be saying, like, spots, the safer needs to put in this will be our small.
Well, it's, my opinion, but, you know, opinions are like anything else. I think we ought to wait till July the 1st before we do this. We got plenty of time to certify people then. Because then we got a, yeah, because we've got a superintendent coming in at that point, and, you know, she might have some other ideas of who she would like to hire, she would like to do. That's just my opinion. I mean, you know, opinions like everything else. So,
Mr. Ross, one of the suggestions I would make though is as we're looking, Mr. Gibson and I have been following through this custodian elementary, if you do that.
Yeah.
That prevents us from hiring those additional responders.
agreed.
Where we
well,
need.
no,
You can still bring it in front of us to approve.
you can bring it back. You can harm as of, bring it to the board.
Regulations change, that we can't have retroactive at all. That's, I mean, that's one position that I see we're going to need. That if you approve it the way it is now, then that would give Superintendent Bostic, as soon as we get all that information, it says, chance, she can go ahead.
So I think our procedure's fine. I think our procedure's fine. I wouldn't advise delay the process on.
Well, I remember one time, and this boss member remembers this, we approved this, but not for administration.
That was at the last, I was sitting over there at that point. And I said, we're gonna hire a principal. Realize that. I remember when I see it at the high school at that time. Because Mr. Allen.
We did.
Right.
We did it.
But that's not on the agenda.
Well, we have a place on this, but I'm thinking through this as you're talking about it. I know there's occasions where you have maybe somebody applies for a teaching position. They just got out of college a couple weeks ago.
I know, then they.
You don't know, then, see, that's moved on, sorry.
Absolutely.
So that does happen, you know,
It does.
things happen through at the hospital
Yeah.
where people, you call back, I'll take another job, but you only get back what we see.
Yeah.
So that's something to consider.
Certain positions are.
Okay, don't turn.
Well, we can look at it this way. Williams is going to be coming into most of the staff being in place.
Yeah.
I have a day, I think we scheduled it for the 24th of this month, so. Go from the day, just 3 things.
Yeah.
I don't believe it myself. So,
I understand what you're saying, but I understand that.
Just a thought.
I understand kids getting out of college and they're applying to 10 different places.
We want to be the first.
I mean, we do this every year.
Yes.
We've done it as long as I can remember. They school system, they always do. Mainly because you have people transfer and school's getting ready to start and you want teachers in the classroom.
Which certified people in regularly you're left with people that's not certified, which county funds.
Did it when Mr. Biggs was leaving. It said, again, it says superintendent, as I remember asking about it, it said superintendent being, just says. Whoever is the new one.
Well, it's, yeah.
They do it everywhere. Just for that reason, is because we need our staff starts. And all that shuffling happens also.
Schools get flooded, starting tomorrow.
But we still are placing the shuffle next year.
So the shuffling will begin.
So that's all right.
Well, I've heard quite a bit. Shuffling. For lack of a better word. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed?
So pass 3-2.
So is Pat, so this is voting on the ability to pre-post positions, right?
We're voting for the superintendent to post and fill the position prior to board approval.
I vote for yes.
You already voted yes.
I got lost in there.
You can only vote once, saying only one person. Three to two. And the reason I voted no is because of the changeover. And we've got a board meeting coming up in 2 weeks. And I know that Ms. Gibson or Mrs. Williams, Dr. Williams will be here in 2 weeks. But I'd like to see what her opinion is on some of the staff. She may have some ideas that we've never thought about the staff. Number 8, approval for Director of Finance Treasurer to make budget adjustments prior to board approval effective June 3rd, 2025 through June 30th, 2025. Do I have a motion? Mr. McCombs made a motion. Do I have a second? Mrs. Hollingsworth seconded. Any questions on this?
It's basically the same line.
No, she's gonna do this for everything, the physical year.
June the 30th and not make any budget adjustments.
No.
So I would be up like June the 30th.
Like change, it takes nothing on, take everything on.
Fiscal year. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Motion carries. Number 9, approval for Director of Finance and Treasurer to pay invoice prior to board approval and effective June 3rd, 2025 through July 15th, 2025. Do I have a motion? Holmes made the motion. Have a second? Mrs. Hollingsworth seconded. Any questions on this one? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Because the things that need to be paid in 25 versus 26.
Approval for a multiple altercation of contract between Pocahontas County Board of Education and an employee. Motion at second. Rolski. Name seconded. You want to give a chance to look at number 10?
Was presented to me by Jason Walker.
Well, she's gonna be here. She. Like the right one? Yes.
That's what
I didn't ask her to be.
No, I just thought she was gonna sign it and get it under the list and not be done with it.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 11, approval of amendment between the Pocahontas County Board of Education and Community Care of West Virginia, effective for the 2025-26 school year. Holmes made a motion. Do I have a second? Mr. McNabb seconds it. Any questions? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Approval of service and professional personnel. Do I have a motion? Mr. McCollum made the motion. Have a second? Second.
Appointment of James Chestnut as custodian for Green Bay Elementary School up to 7 days for summer help for the school preparation scheduled to be determined by principal and head custodian. Martin Middle School, amended resignation, Melissa Robinson as teacher multi-subject education through July 2nd, 2025. Employment of Sherry Powers, custodian for Martin Middle School for up to 7 days for summer help. The school preparation scheduled to be determined by principal and head custodian. Employment of Tina Tracy as K-5 teacher of summer school effective June 9th through July 30th, 2025 at $25 per hour. Pending adequate staffing and student enrollment. Paid holidays are not part of this contract. Employment of Tina Tracy as extended year teacher at Marlin Elementary for elementary students, $25 an hour for 7 days, Monday through Thursday, not to exceed 35 hours per week. Employment of Vicki Rabel as custodian 3 for the 25 Energy Express and summer school programs. Assignment is Marlin Elementary School at a daily rate of pay effective for the 7-week program, June 16th through July 30th, shift be from 8 to 4. Employment of Stephanie Ames as custodian for Marlin Elementary School for up to 7 days for summer help with school preparation. Employment of Billy Hayden for aid of extended year at Marston Elementary School for elementary students at $70 an hour for 7 weeks, Monday through Thursday, not to exceed $35. 35 hours, sorry. Employment of Billy Hayden as aide for summer school at Marlington Elementary for Marlington Elementary students at $70 an hour for 7 weeks, Monday through Friday. The abolishment, don't want you to abolish unless you allow us to create, abolishment of an assistant principal at Pocahontas County High School and abolishment of the athletic at Pocahontas County High School, because I'm asking you to create assistant principal / athletic director at the high school effective for the 25-26 school year for 220 days. And request transfer of Jeanette Wagner as teacher of English language arts at Pocahontas County High School effective for the 25-26 school year, 200 days. Shall be 200 days thereafter. And Allison, we're going to hold on that until we get all of the paperwork in. And then employment as a substitute custodian for Pocahontas County Schools at state minimum salary, 26, Andrew Conover. And I do believe that Mr. Gibson has reached out for a reference on this job.
Yes. Perfect, came back, yes.
Any questions? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Number 4, matters of the board, Mr. Gibson.
I can't express my gratitude and appreciation enough from our staff. You know, I have been to nearly every one of these. This past 3 weeks has been like a flurry of activity in our schools. We have had trips and awards banquets and achievement dinners and graduations and achievement breakfasts, and I mean, and it has been astounding. And to see our staff generate such fine children and they're behave and they're making straight A's. And, it's phenomenal. It really is, and they have done an extraordinary job. And I'm so proud to be even in the same week. It's an honor for me. Don't say that. And Mr. Boss, I want to appreciate you, and you guys a month left. I want you to finish strong too, expecting good work from you. I do appreciate you reaching out to Miss Williams. You know, that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Okay.
Sherry.
Same to you. You know, we expect you to work right until your last minute here. You know, people crossing over the last minute, okay?
See if she's
I
at
would
12.
not expect anything less. And, you've been exceptional. We appreciate you so much. And that's all I have to say.
Mr. Renee. Mr. Combs. Dr. Collinsworth.
things. One graduation, it's a lovely ceremony.
Yeah.
I was very impressed with the people who were there, because lots of times you have parents, grandparents, whatever, who when their child has walked across, then they start to talk and carry on. There was none of that.
No,
And everybody was very respectful of all the kids. And everything went on. You know, I would say if there was any problem, it was some of the kids didn't know to turn their tap on. And some of the kids couldn't get their party. But it made a long power series. Because they were still around.
Walking out.
it's great.
That was very good. And I was glad to see in the survey results that communication is still up there. And even though we've been working on it, obviously we need to keep working. But I was concerned about the bullying. Too many people mentioned bullying. And I don't know where they came from, what school, whether it's one school, and doesn't make any difference. That's something that needs to be to a higher. That's all.
Pro officers, have we heard anything about any state funding, Sherry, about any pro officers in the schools?
It used to be the State Department of Safety.
Like it.
He was here a couple weeks ago. He was gonna reach out to their grant writer, to see if we could write a grant for officer. The last I spoke with her, she was going to see if it was just a 1 year salary grant. You know, how we could spread it out.
It's something, it seems like from time to time we forget about that. While the summer's going on, I think to keep that one.
Yeah, you know, I ran into a former student at the IGA here this past weekend. We were just talking, he said, they put security officers in our courthouse,
Yes,
but they don't even think about putting them in school.
yes.
He said, that's wrong. He said, it's backwards. I said, you're right.
I think that we're graduation. One day, I said, they got, when I looked back and saw their cats and uniforms, I was like, thank you.
They've been good. They come to a lot of things. They come to nearly every function you ever there. I know the schools. They come to this Green Bay. I mean, we have a great school.
I'm like this, or Dr. Holmes. I thought graduation was great. I really did. It went smoothly. It went pretty fast. A lot of times you sat there and you wait. It wasn't like that. You know, from once they started to they finished, it was in a timely manner. I just thought it was a great thing. Our next Board of Education meeting will be held on Tuesday, June 17, 2025, beginning at 6 p.m. in the Board of Education conference room in Buckeye. And we are adjourned.